Boxxy, or Katie Wayne, is an early Chan girl who soaked up the attention from B for years, until all the old fags jumped ship and were cycled out with new fags, and then her name was mostly forgotten after 2013-2014. Long ago, back in 2009, in yet another You Rage, You Lose thread, an Anon posted one of Boxxy's videos hoping to get a rise because she was just being lol so random. But instead this had the inverse effect, and it kind of blew up in his face. Anons were really taking a shining to their new underage jailbait queen. Boxxy becomes an instant hit on B. She soaks up all of the attention, has a little fan base form underneath her thumb of autistic man-children who lap up her piss wherever it may fall. And for many years, there would be an hourly Boxxy thread dedicated to sniffing her farts and her used underwear. Around this time, Boxxy had only had 2 videos and shared minimal interactions with the Chans, other than starting a thread or 2, which nobody really believed it was her anyhow until they saw proof, and then they scared her off. Anyways, she uploads a new video January 10th, 2009.
Okay, hi. So, my name is Boxxy, and it's been a while.
And this causes B to burst into a panic. Millions of Boxxy threads are created immediately. Nothing else can take place. It's comparable to the trap wars of R9K, but I can only imagine how much worse it actually was, because it was over a girl not becoming one. And during this time frame, 4chan even gets DOSed and goes down for about 3 hours. And in that time, Moot was allegedly faced with a choice. Bring back Snacks, who was an infamous moderator for swinging the ban hammer like no other, or make Boxxy posting a bannable offense. So Boxxy posting was made illegal on B for a year. A couple of weeks later, things get even worse for the supposed queen of B. Faced with this decision, Moot decides to make Boxxy posting illegal for most of 2009. Her YouTube channel is hacked by a group of spurgs going by CBCR, or Center for Boxxy Control and Restriction. They, of course, only use the most elite methods for obtaining her information. They correctly guessed her password reset questions. So these valiant white knights uploaded a video explaining to Boxxy why she should never upload another video again, and claim to have personal information that they will release if she does make another video. And then they go into the comments and brag about how 1337 they all are, making them all huge homos. The ringleader of this group of miscreants feels troll's remorse, and early morning on January 20th, 2009, Boxxy's channel reverts to normal and the FTP server for the CBCR goes offline.
Car advice, get Carling's Black Label. Carling's Black Label beer.
There are absolutely no adults anywhere within radar.
A couple more events pop off, but nothing real interesting that I'd like to cover until July 25th, 2009. Operation Box Piece. 14 Anons met up and attempted to go meet Boxxy IRL. They showed up to an address I won't say, rang the doorbell, but there was no answer. They later discovered they had the wrong address and went to the correct address. But, however, our valiant group of retards was stuck by a wooden chair blocking the gate, and decided to just leave flowers after Boxxy wouldn't come out. They gave up and went to go eat frozen yogurt. And for the most part, things calmed down for a little while, with another operation called Box Miss around Christmas time popping off, where Anons brought gifts for Boxxy, but no evidence was ever photographed or videoed of this event happening. Most people think it either didn't happen or the Anons didn't care and just had a get-together. In 2010, things pop off into the next chapter, with her videos being taken down by an Anon that goes by Anon77. He fooled YouTube's copyright system into believing that he was Boxxy. So the guy's kind of a pioneer. Later on, around the same time, a video is released of a phone conversation between Boxxy and her friend Nikki.
Would you want like all of the stuff to go away anyway? I mean,
Yes, I suppose so.
okay.
Because what my problem is that it's like I didn't do anything. Maybe if I had done something worth, acknowledging, I would be able to take the fucking like bad with the good. But I'm not getting any good. Do you see what I mean? Like, I mean, it's a bit much to call me a celebrity, but do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's getting to the point where it's like it's invading my personal life, and I'm not getting any benefits.
The obsession fags were worsening and actually starting to wear on Boxxy. They even got to the point to where they started attending her school plays. She took a big part in them. The following is an excerpt from an anon that went to go see her in person at a school play. That's going to be one of my biggest regrets in life if I don't rectify it somehow. I was too scared to see her afterwards. I was really glib about it when they announced that you could meet the actors afterwards, since I thought I was over her. The first time I looked into her eyes, I was fighting it, saying this is what they teach bartenders, strippers, and Ricky Martin, to make it seem they're genuinely interested in you and not another source of income. The second time it happened, she broke down anything cynical that was happening in my head, and I was just happy for the first time in a long while. I was hooked, and I wanted it to happen a third time. It didn't happen, but I was glad she wasted 2 seconds of her time just to look at me. As I was leaving, I just knew I couldn't go in there. I was sweating bullets, my hands were shaking, and I probably would have shed a tear thinking, do I really want to end this? I wanted to give myself a reason to just go see her one more time, even though it would be less socially inappropriate at her graduation or dance. I'm smiling, just thinking of how this girl could do this to me with just a glance. That post gives me a feeling of genuine sadness over the whole situation. Tons of guys have an obsession over a girl that these virgins will never ever have or even encounter. And some random girl who uploaded a video on YouTube a year or two ago is suddenly overnight being harassed by tons and tons of different dudes online who all want nothing more than her to just say hi back. It's sad. And then we reach a boiling point for all those silly morals. She sells out and enlists our Inuyasha bag on eBay for $100 grand, and of course nobody buys it. But BU loses their shit and their arguments on whether or not it's the real Boxxy, and the creeps come out of the good work and start to compare freckles and scars and prove it actually is her. Boxxy decides, fuck, $100 grand's a little bit much for a bag. Why not just sell my childhood Sanrio cinnamon roll backpack for $1,000? And it sells. Somebody fucking buys it. And really, from this point forward, she goes on to accept the internet fame and tries to take advantage of it a couple times in a couple different ways. But she's unable to capitalize on any real meaningful way of making any monetary gain off this obsession a bunch of guys have with her. All of her original content is now posted on A New Hope, where she mainly just vlogs and makes videos on and off every couple of years. But she hasn't been very active for the past year or two, and seems like she might actually just be leaving the internet stuff behind for good. Oh yeah, she was a brony too.